welcome back to the 1313 podcast, the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jackson.
I'm Tommy.
Welcome back, all you Regs, all you Shinies. Welcome to the podcast. This is the podcast. Please, before we start, make sure that you are liking this video, commenting on this video, and subscribing to the channel, as well as following us on all of our social medias, that being Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And don't forget the Twitch. We also have a Discord. Make sure that you hop in that Discord for an amazing Star Wars community. And if you want to go above and beyond in supporting the podcast, please support us on Patreon.
And that's all, folks.
We also have merch. Buy merch.
We do have merch, and we always forget that we have merch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we decided to switch it up this week. We decided we were so excited to talk about the Bad Batch that, well, specifically Jackson and I really wanted to talk about Bad Batch. So we decided we would do just that, and our bonus episode would be Bad Batch, and Mando will be lumped in with our main week episode. So if you want to check that out tomorrow. If you're watching this the day it came out. So. Mm-hmm. Everybody, Bad Batch. First impressions. What do we think about this episode?
Very cool. Very nice.
Peak.
Very cool.
It was amazing.
Nice.
It was everything I didn't know that I wanted.
Mm-hmm. I like robed clone. Commander Mayday. Robed clone. I can't wait to never get that in the Black Series.
I thought this was an extremely moving, heartbreaking. Like, just truly, I feel like it just completely embodied the struggle of the clone trooper in the Star Wars timeline, all in 30 minutes. Less than 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. But I do agree with you, Jacob. I'm just going to take my moment and give my mini rant now about that. Okay, so I was watching the episode looking at how cool Commander Mayday and his tattered up clone troopers looked, and I was watching him in the ice cave, and I was watching it with my dad. Shout out to my dad. I looked over at him and I said, it would be really cool if Hasbro went out and made an action figure of this. But no. Instead, we have to make more retailer-exclusive carbonized 2-packs, because that's what the people really want.
Yeah.
And I digress.
That's what I want. Ned B is my favorite character of all of Star Wars, and I'm so happy to get a slightly shinier version of him.
I'm so glad to get two figures that if I put them next to each other, I'd really have to look for a second to see the difference.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that you can't see them through the box, even see what the figure looks like before you buy it, it's just an immaculate business tactic, and I love it so much. And why does Retro Collection get to keep the plastic and Black Series doesn't? It doesn't make sense. Because those figures look like doo-doo and don't sell. But guess what does sell? The Black Series.
Carbonized apparently sells really well, too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. So much so that they gave it to Amazon.
They have 2 carbonized 2-packs out right now. If you want to go buy those for $69.99 and $74.99.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, what a steal!
Mm-hmm. It's a great deal. They're really going to sell out.
It's a great steal if you're Jeff Bezos, because that's just change in the couch.
Yep.
But for the rest of us, that's half a week's pay, and I'm not spending it on. If their whole business model was taking the plastic out of the packaging because they wanted to reduce garbage, then why the hell would they make these figures?
Because that's more garbage in the box.
Mm-hmm, and it's a lot more plastic.
See what happened to the Funko plant?
The distribution center in Alabama.
No.
They had so much
in Arizona.
Oh, yeah. They had so much overstock of Funkos sitting in storage units, they were losing money. So they said, I know, if we give these to people, it'll devalue our product. So let's throw it in a landfill.
They threw it in the landfill. Like, people literally
brand new Funko Pops.
Inbox. Thousands of Funko Pops.
Yep.
And that's why your brand is trash.
And that's why we hate Funko.
They said, we can't stoop down to Ollie's level. We got to just throw them out.
That's terrible.
Mm-hmm. And some of the ones that they threw out were actually very valuable ones. Like somebody found a 2-pack of Willy Wonka Funko Pops that are both gold variants, and both of them go for I think $100,000. For some reason.
Because screw giving it to poor people.
That's awesome. I'm really happy that Funko realized what they had and put it where it belonged.
Finally.
Anyways.
Getting back to the episode.
Black Series is just very frustrating to me lately, and that's it. Mandomania, please give me some good.
Nope, they give us only retro this week, so.
Maybe next week will be better after this episode and whatnot.
So, Crosshair is back in the spotlight. That's
great. It was
great.
going to be about the main batch, though.
I also thought, Jackson and I were talking at work today, we had speculated weeks ago that this episode was going to be about a side mission that the Bad Batch went on, given by Sid. Mm-hmm. And I'm very happy that that's not the case.
I really thought that this would be a Crosshair episode.
Really?
I really did, because at the beginning of the season, they had one relatively serious episode for the Bad Batch to display like where they were in the galaxy, and immediately after that, they did their thing with Crosshair, and now last episode was another really serious turning point for the Bad Batch, as in the entire crew, not like a character arc for a single member.
Right.
Everybody got their life switched up and it went back to Crosshair again, so it makes sense, and it also shows that he's probably going to be at the same place, same time as the Bad Batch are at the end of this season, and maybe he'll join them again, or he'll die.
When Omega gets taken by Delta Squad to Mount Tantus, Crosshair will be the one to help her escape, and not the Bad Batch.
Maybe so.
And then Druid Sabayoth is going to come out of the mountain and be like, I own all of you! Bah! And then it's going to be great. Read Heir of the Empire if you want to get that reference.
All right. And then the Yuzong Bong show up. And then, yeah.
Dude, I saw some of these Lego stop motion animations on TikTok of the Death Troopers book, and I was like, and they're like memes about the book, and I was like, I get these! I get them! They're funny! So
I have a list of notes, as I usually do with the Bad Batch episode. One thing that I really liked was there was blood in the Bad Batch episode. You usually don't see... They're following the blood trail in the ice cave.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
That was
Shouldn't
really
it
cool.
have cauterized like everything else?
I think that, but then also Chewbacca shot Kylo Ren and he was bleeding.
What if he, in this situation, winged him on the side or
Grazed him.
something like that?
Got him in an artery.
Yeah.
Just blipping through.
See, and then right before that as well, Tommy and I were talking about too how like Crosshair's going to shoot, and then he puts down his antenna, well, his rangefinder, I should say, which has the thermal, and then when the ship explodes, his eyes are all screwed up.
Owie, sowie, my eyes!
My dad was telling me that that's actually a real thing when you're using night vision goggles in the military. If there's like a flashbang that goes off or something, or an explosion, it makes you blind for a little bit. Like momentarily.
Wouldn't be surprised, though. Because I know depth perception in night vision is like awful, too. I have a bunch of people who have used it, well, that I know that have used it, that have told me like, it's like weird, like you're walking, you can't tell like how far something is in front of you.
Y'all remember when, as a pre-order bonus for, I believe it was the original Modern Warfare, it came with night vision goggles, and they had to be recalled because they were literal night vision goggles.
That's pretty cool.
And then they were like, maybe the public shouldn't have these because like some people were like caught spying on people with them or some shit.
That's not Activision's fault.
It really isn't their fault.
Well, when some parents start being like, video gamers make my kids shoot up schools, then they're like, okay, maybe we should.
But then they put an
It's a
RCXD
free market,
in the
man.
next version, bro.
That is true.
It's a free market.
Although it didn't have a bomb, you could put a pipe bomb on it and then drive your RCXD around.
It's just but you can do that with any RC car. Please, nobody get any ideas.
Yeah. Anyways.
Funny.
So, something that I thought was really important about this episode was this was the first time, aside from Commander Cody or Captain Rex, that Crosshair ever gave a crap about
A reg.
a reg.
Yep.
That being Commander Mayday.
Well, because I feel like with this new lieutenant, he's
Lieutenant Loser.
Loser.
he wasn't just discriminating against the regs. He was discriminating. He was being like, oh, Crosshair too. Like, you're a clone, even though he's like the most different clone out of all of them.
Genetically enhanced.
He's still like, oh, this guy. So
yeah, it was just this visceral hatred the entire episode. Like, I have used equipment. It's like not even referring to them as people, but as literal objects.
Property of an old government. Outdated military equipment. That is what the lieutenant refers to them as.
this is the first time we saw TK troopers all season too.
Yeah. Well, we saw them in the third episode. The other Crosshair episode.
Yeah, they were in the Crosshair episode.
They come up right at the very end. After the clones do all the dirty work.
He's making the face. He gets it.
He do be understanding.
But that part was just crazy too. It was almost just unfathomable, like the lengths that the lieutenant wanted these people to. What?
That's you just unfathomable. That's a new word. I've never heard that before.
My bad. But like the lengths that he wanted these clones to go to, just in the initial ambush, 2 of them just die, and he's like, well, 2 of you have to complete the mission. I'm not going to spare any of my new special troopers that I have. He almost treats the TK troopers like a toy soldier. Like they're perfect and they should never be tampered with.
Because they
these are inbox.
They are
collectibles.
people. He sees them as people. He does not see clone troopers as people.
Yeah.
He's not even willing to give Commander Mayday medical attention because he just sees him as military equipment.
Mm-hmm.
The TK troopers he sees as important, and their gear is what he cares about getting damaged.
He's like, "Oi, bruv is dying. Please help him." He said, "Or."
All right.
Do we want to talk about that ending?
This leads me to the ending.
Well, because that's what we were just referencing. Or what were you going to hit on?
Cause, I mean, I was just going to bring up that Jackson and I have coined a new term. Okay.
Yes.
So this is a new term, and if anybody else uses this, put respect on our name for 1313 that we came up with this. Okay. So basically, we have seen the systematic oppression of the clone troopers throughout this entire season, and that is what this season's story has been. And we see through that, Jackson and I have decided to coin the term cloneism. Okay?
Yes.
And I would deem people like Admiral Rampart and this lieutenant, who I do not care to know his name, as cloneists. They are haters of clones, and they work for a system that systematically oppresses the clone troopers as a whole. Every single one of them, even ones like Crosshair, who are genetically enhanced.
Yeah, because even at like the beginning of the episode, you see those clone officers complaining to the Imperial officer that are like, she's like, "Oh, well, enjoy your retirement." They're like, "But we're soldiers. Like, what are we supposed to do now that we're retired?" And then she's like, "Please voice all of your concerns to so-and-so." Like the most like bureaucratic answer possible.
Let's go with some other examples here. In the second episode where Wilco dies, Captain Wilco. Look at that. Where would you see that happen to a TK trooper? Where an admiral would shoot and kill a TK trooper? Here's another example. When we have Rampart early in the season talking to Crosshair, reassigning him. Usually, if a soldier, at least in our military, in real life, if someone went missing, you go looking for that person. You don't just go, "Oh well, too bad." They don't care about the clone troopers.
Yep.
Rampart does not care at all for the clone troopers. They see them, and the Senate as well. Many in the Senate see the clone troopers as lesser beings. They're not deserving of a pension. They're not deserving of any kind of benefits. They're just being sent off because they're no longer necessary for the cause of the Empire.
They get no vote. They have no voice in the Senate.
Yep.
And that's what it is. And so we have decided to coin that term for them. So that's our big brain moment from 1313 this week. But I feel like it just helps frame a much better... It actually... I will say this. These TV shows, whether it be Andor or The Bad Batch, or Mando even, have made me hate the Empire a lot more and see them as much more of an evil force in the galaxy. Whereas as growing up as a kid, it was like, "Oh, don't be stormtrooper, don't know how to shoot." Now it's like...
Even just like liking the Empire because you're like, well, they're cool. But now it's like, oh...
They are the bad guys. And I like that these shows have actually framed them to be the bad guys. It makes me like the Empire a hell of a lot more than I did growing up as a kid. The OT was not half as cool as the prequel era when I was a kid. And now I feel like it gets a lot closer to being even now because of how much these shows are doing for the Empire.
More building, please.
Yes. Do you want to talk about the ending?
Sure, we can talk about
We can hit the ending for sure.
Crosshair straight domed the lieutenant. I was really hoping he was gonna.
Woo!
At first, I thought it was gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be a Disney show where he's not gonna do it, and it's gonna be like very peaceful, just kind of like, oh, I'm so angry. He let my buddy die, and he domes him. So I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that at all.
I really liked it.
All.
I thought it was great because, again, this shows character development. This was Crosshair's breaking point in realizing that a Reg, a clone that Crosshair would have seen as inferior, which, again, we have seen him say that in the Clone Wars Season 7. He thinks Regs are inferior. He sees that there are clone troopers who have just as much heart as the Bad Batch did, and that actually care about... They actually have a general care for each other because they've all been through similar experiences. And it was awesome for Crosshair to almost sacrifice his own life after he had that conversation about carrying dead weight with Commander Mayday.
He's like, remind me not to die
on your watch.
When he said that, I was like, okay, he's gonna get it.
I knew he was going to die right from the get-go.
Right from
I
his
never
name.
expected
Right
it, to
from
be
his
honest.
name.
Mayday?
Because every
Well,
single
yeah.
time that Dave Filoni names a clone something silly, they die.
Captain Keeley,
Yep.
I'm a gun die.
I'm a
Admiral
good-
Doa, dead on arrival.
Yeah. When I saw the ending, well, at least that section, when I was just watching it live, like my mouth dropped. I was like, I can't believe that just happened.
I was really sad when Mayday died. And
Yeah.
again, like I get sad when all clones die in these shows, but when he died, I really, really felt that.
For
So I felt
me,
it here. Where
when-
it hurts.
yeah, what I was talking about in the Discord was like, this is the first time since the Clone Wars that a named clone has died that I felt the same amount of sadness as I did in the Clone Wars. Just because it just wasn't right. Like, he wasn't supposed to die like that. He could have been saved, but
And that, I think, to see Crosshair's visceral reaction, that guttural, just that anger you see well up inside him of him telling Lieutenant, you could have saved him. And Lieutenant's like so just the hatred in the words that he's saying to Crosshair, and even warning him, like, if you talk to me like that again, you're going to receive the same fate. I was like, wow, and like Jacob said, I really thought for a second, I was like, please just kill him. Because I knew he had his blaster pistol.
yeah.
I was like, please just kill him. And then he let him walk away a little bit. And I was like, damn, he's really going
I
to
know.
he's still going to gun for the Empire after this. You know, it's
I
just
feel like he's
Also,
done.
He lost his helmet too. He lost his
Yeah.
Imperial helmet, which could also be
that
a physical sign of him losing his Imperial self.
that would be symbolic.
Ooh.
I agree.
Because
So,
he complained about that at the beginning of the episode, saying he wasn't in proper uniform for not
Yep.
having a helmet on, which...
mhm. So I'm hoping.
And where is your uniform?
But yeah, like what Tommy was saying as well, like the episode was just perfect in the fact that Crosshair learned to care about people other than himself.
Right.
He's breaking the idea that he had before of just like, I'm the most superior being ever and this is my purpose. Where like, oh, other people matter too. And even like losing his helmet, losing his Imperial identity. The point that I was mentioning as well was like, he lets Mayday use his sniper as a crutch. The weapon that he values the most and that he's used
Yeah.
everywhere, that he would never let like anyone else touch or use or nothing, lets him use it as a crutch, barrel in the ground, so that his friend now can get back. And just for him to die over TK equipment, though, I thought that was like the biggest shock.
Yeah, and they got stolen by the Hoth version of the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
I thought Jackson brought up a good point too about before we touch on the fact
Yeah.
that it was the equipment. Even that point though, where Mayday mentions that the Imperials told him that it was above a clone trooper's pay grade to get to know.
He just knew he had to guard the box. I'm
And
surprised he
again,
didn't
this
just-
unwavering
same.
loyalty from the clone troopers, that they follow orders. And that Mayday says it. We were good soldiers. We followed orders. And this is what we get after all this. And it just
Mhm.
speaks to, I've always felt like, we've said it time and time again on this show, that the clone troopers have the most tragic story, the most thankless story in all of Star Wars. And this is a testament to that, I think.
That's why all the fans love him. Because they're like, oh, we love you. And then Dave Filoni said, good. Now nobody else will.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And like when Mayday
I'm grabbing it.
is just...
Oh.
There's just tons of offhand comments this entire episode where Mayday just speaks to the struggle of the clone troopers when the Empire takes over. And again, I like those little bits that they throw in. Earlier, when you see two random clones talking about the defense bill in one of the earlier episodes with Crosshair. Now you see it again where just a few nameless clones are walking with an Imperial officer. It's like they're just making the clones retire. They're giving them no way to go about their lives afterwards. Just, yep, you guys are done.
I'm kind of surprised that it's just like straight up retirement and it's just kind of like forcing them into the populace, because the only time that we see clones not in the Clone Wars is we see them in Rebels still as soldiers banding together fighting the Empire, and we see Hobo Clone. Don't you think that there'd be more of them? Isn't there like millions of them?
Here's my thought as well, just because the defense bill is an action to phase out clone troopers, and I feel like because there's so much resentment and whatnot in that of them not being able to be soldiers, that's why we see them in this mission, because they're technically retired and they could say, okay, this isn't our deal anymore, but they want to do soldier activities so that they can maintain that sense of humanity and purpose rather than just flat out stop. I guess even if that means that they die for the most part.
We see a lot. I mean, we've seen in the couple episodes this season, most of the clone troopers die. I mean, the only ones that really survive on that planet in the first Crosshair episode were Cody and Crosshair were the only ones that lived.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe like 4 or 5 other clones out of their whole squad they had at the beginning.
Yep.
And then you have in this episode, it's only Crosshair was the only clone trooper to survive. We don't see any other clone troopers anywhere in the entire episode at the end.
Oh, because there was only 3 of them on the planet when they got there. 2 of
Yeah.
them died in the attack. And then Lieutenant Dill Pickle said, "Go! Get my loot back."
First,
the
like, go
loot.
get my gray pistols and my gray armor back. That's just terrible, bro.
The most bust down looking armor in the galaxy, bro.
Bust down.
And
it
his
was
lieutenant's armor is horrendous too.
It's
Like he looks like he's going to the Met Gala. Like,
imagine
bro.
if you saw Thrawn pull up in that.
Uh,
Thrawn, no longer a cool character. I would see him pull up in that guy.
if he's wearing the officer armor with the fur shoulders, I will scrub this off my arm.
No, even like we know that clones have winter armor, so to see Mayday and his other soldiers wrap themselves in cloth, ingenious in my opinion, but like it also just looks really cool.
I think they were doing it partially because their armor was falling apart from the weather conditions.
Probably.
I mean, yeah,
The
partially to-
helmets were all broken and stuff.
Partially to keep
Oh, yeah.
warm, but also you can see the armor's rusting. You could see it's like cracking. It's falling apart. They barely have, none of them have a full suit of armor when we see them.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought it was really sad. Another touch. Again, the whole episode, so many tiny details that just show the tragedy of the clone troopers. When you see that he lines up all the helmets of all the men in his squad that have died from these raider attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And when he adds 2 more helmets for, I think it was Hex and Beach were their names, or
Yeah.
Beecher or something like
No
that.
idea.
Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that
Breach.
kind of
I
caught
think
me
it was
off guard
Breach.
that it was
Yeah.
Beach.
I
Oh,
think it
Beach
was
or Breach?
I think it was Breach.
Oh.
I always try to put closed captions on when I watch it a second time, but I did not get to watch this one a second time.
We were halfway through a second time when
You know, it was
customers
dead
came
at
in.
work all day today, and then in the last hour when we decide, let's watch The Bad Batch, all of a sudden a bunch of losers want to come in.
Oh, you mean people want to shop at our store while the store is open? Damn.
You should ask the guy that came in 3 minutes before we closed to do a
Oh
return.
no, screw that guy.
To do a return, I had already closed the register, and he
Are you talking about today? No.
he got all up in my face and angry at me because I closed the register and he had to drive all the way from Ohio. And this is the second time. So and I said, "I'm really sorry, man." And then he just kept staring at me. Like, so I looked at him and I said, "My recommendation, you should call ahead and let us know when you're going to be here so we don't close the register."
Yeah. I mean, like, this is a long process of... I just can't even believe that. We'll just talk about it after the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, because we would close the register right at the time that we're supposed to be closing,
However...
but the GM gets mad at us when we do it. So
Yeah, we're supposed to budget our hours better. That's a whole nother... Anyways.
Mm.
So...
I'm gonna be in an indentured servant cycle where I'm endlessly poor. Thank you, Lens Crafters. And he's not gonna see this. Thank you, Joe.
Joe Mama.
Ah.
I don't care.
He said thumbs down.
I don't care.
Anyways.
Go to the gym.
So, Jackson, you were talking... Oh, we have not mentioned the ending. We still have not mentioned the ending.
I thought we did just talk
We just
Oh,
talked
like
about-
the ending and the... Oh, yeah.
Oh,
when
and the
Crosshairs
Mythosaur shows up?
Shut
Right,
up,
right.
bro.
Oh, you didn't see that.
You didn't see
Shut
it.
up. No, so when he's on Mount Tantus and we see him, we had a few people in Discord like thinking maybe like he's becoming a death trooper.
That's
they're
my
putting some
theory. I think that they're
serum
going
in
to
him.
cybernetically enhance him. Because what else is the purpose of this Dr. Hemlock other than to experiment?
True.
It's the Angel of Death.
I mean, they do
I'm-
see the clone troopers as less than human and as property. So, I mean, in that sense, it really, through that logic of the Empire, experimenting on them means nothing.
In my opinion, what if at the end of the episode, and this is something we mentioned before at work, but I was thinking about more, What if, it ends with the screen going to black, but that's Crosshair being sedated because maybe what if they want to look at his DNA and think about it, make an army of intelligent clones, just like a small little thing to carry out assassin-based missions. Remember when we had the assassin clone in the previous arc?
That's a good point.
Maybe make people as intelligent as Crosshair that can supersede what that clone trooper's job was.
Or make the bad batch of stormtroopers that I can't remember the name of.
The
Scar Squadron.
Scar Squad. I mean, that would only work for like one of them though. Or maybe they can just play with the DNA from there to make Scar Squadron. I mean, like, I see what you're saying.
It's a weird one.
They're all going to get captured in the next episode, and then
we don't know.
I'm still holding on to that theory, though. I still think that he's going to become a Death Trooper or an early iteration of a Death Trooper. Now,
what if it's the Phase 1 Death Troopers we see?
That'd be pretty cool. When do we see those?
Kenobi.
Purge Troopers.
That's what I'm thinking.
Those are Phase 2
Purge
Troopers.
That was like
Goofy Ah Jackson.
That was double.
Goofy Ah Jackson on the awful Star Wars comments.
Maybe they'll make him a Force sensitive clone. He'll become Starkiller. Jacob's disappointment when he realizes Crosshair is Starkiller.
I would be upset.
Anyways,
Sam Witwer.
Star hair.
Star hair.
Star no hair, just star because it shines like a star on top.
Anyways. So okay,
he got the ground beef side of his skull.
So Jacob, I really want to get your thoughts on this.
No.
I talked to Jackson about this.
I don't want
to. Okay. And on to my next point. No. So I have a theory now. I genuinely think that we've been speculating about a clone rebellion for so long now. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that there's not going to be a clone rebellion.
I don't think so.
At all.
If there was, we would have heard of it in some other property in some other time.
Because, I mean, the only way... Well, in the original Battlefront 2 game, in the campaign, there is a mission where after the 501st become stormtroopers in that old game. They adorn the Imperial armor and become stormtroopers after a while. And they still fight for Darth Vader. Only the 501st, though.
Yeah.
So, in that storyline, which is not canon, so keep in mind, none of this is canon, the Kaminoans were still operating on Kamino, and they had... The one thing that Bad Batch does that is the same as the Legends timeline here is that they took the cloning technology from the Kaminoans. That is still the same. What the Kaminoans did was they cloned a bunch of Fett clones to fight the Empire, and they wore Phase 1 clone trooper armor, and they tried to fight the Empire with that. And they ended up obviously ultimately losing, and then Kamino was destroyed. That is what originally happened in Battlefront 2, and that was what I always kept as a headcanon. Now the Bad Batch is coming out, I'm throwing that away, because now we're having this. In that timeline, if Bad Batch would have followed Battlefront 2's timeline, I could have totally seen a clone rebellion to some extent. Now, I really, truly, I don't think there's going to be any sort of clone rebellion at all. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. We would have heard of it. It would have been in Rebels. They would have mentioned something about it.
Right.
They would be talking about this great purge, like how the Mandalorians are, but it's only about the clones.
I guess.
And then Hobo Clone would have been allowed to live and sit there on a planet that's crawling with Imperials and Inquisitors all at the same time. They would have executed him or had him done away with a long time ago. So
do you think then, because of this, that the show will start to... Because the story pushed it this way, the Bad Batch will start to work more with Captain Rex in finding and helping clone troopers. Maybe. And that will be more of a main objective. Because I have a feeling that this next episode is going to deal with... The Bad Batch
become social workers.
The Bad Batch go get social work bachelor's degrees and become the next generation. I think, honestly, that these next couple episodes are going to resolve our Sid timeline. I think that we're going to go back to the Bad Batch, they're going to go back to Ord Mantell, and they're going to get...
Like, screw you, Sid.
And then Delta Squad's going to say, okay, I'll pull up, and then they're going to lose Omega.
I feel like, in my opinion, with how many episodes we have left, we're going to... Yeah, Omega's going to get captured in some way, shape, or form. I'll just put my strong thoughts down and just say I predict that will happen.
With our luck, it's Sid's going to turn him in.
Yeah.
People are gonna show up and they're gonna take him, and then Sid's gonna be like, I feel bad, and then they're just gonna help him in the end, and then they're gonna be like, oh, Sid, we love
I'm
you
looking
so
up the
much.
episode titles really quick.
Sid, we love you so much.
Oh, here goes Jackson again.
Trying to spoil
Looking up the
rest.
damn episode titles
Do you
again.
not want me to talk about it?
No, you can.
I
You
don't
can.
want to know.
You can.
I don't want to know.
Do you want to plug your ears, Jacob?
I will.
Do you want to plug your
He's gonna-
ears?
He's gonna put it in his headphones.
I'm gonna put in my earbuds and I'm gonna blast Pearl Jam so I can't hear you.
Yeah, you should
You're gonna
blast
put in
Pierce
Pearl
the
Jam?
Veil.
Oh yeah, that is a thing. You gotta give me a second so I can get the
Okay,
music flowing.
okay.
Let me just give me a second.
Like,
dog.
get the Pearl going.
Mhm.
Ooh,
No, I might not,
okay,
I
I'm
might
looking
not
at
listen
it.
to Pearl Jam.
So we have...
Hey, give me a minute. Give me a
I'm
minute.
not
Give me a
even-
minute.
Not even like a spoiler.
Yeah,
bro.
me a minute.
Oh,
give me a
so
minute,
it's
give me a minute.
called.
I'm put on some funk.
So it's called Chicka Chicka Boom Boom.
All right, he's got his Pearl Jam in. So we have 4 episodes left of the Bad Batch before it includes 2 regular, and then it's the finale where 2 are going to be in
That's
at once.
crazy. That's it.
I can't believe, like, this is literally
my
it.
God.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, we only have 3 more weeks of shooting 2 episodes at once.
Yeah.
The next episode, episode 13, is called Pabu. What that means, I don't know. We thought Metamorphosis and the Outpost sounded like stupid names, but look at where we are now.
Yeah, who knows what the hell's gonna happen now?
It's Pabu, Tipping Point, the Summit, and Plan 99 is the conclusion. So, I don't know.
With the way the story's going, that scares
The
me
Summit,
a lot.
100% is Tantus. They're going to Tantus, and they're doing
yeah.
something
Yeah,
there.
that's the second to last episode.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's the Summit and 99 are the conclusion. Because it's Pabu, Tipping Point, and then all that.
I don't know why this makes me so anxious.
I am just so anxious. I forgot we were
Is
so
this
close to the ending.
Is this the end?
We're done. We're done.
We're done.
We're done.
We're done. Dude, but that episode title being called
I was like, I thought you said that they were done.
We are done. But
but I will say I'm actually anxious.
I don't want the Bad
anxious.
Batch to end. That's my problem now.
It's not gonna. There's gonna be a.
Well,
Bad
yeah,
Batch
there'll be a
panel.
season 3.
I
There's a
don't
Bad
know,
Batch
bro.
panel at the next.
There is?
At
Well,
the,
I don't know. They did a Resistance panel after they ended Resistance
Ooh, that
at
is
Celebration last
did
year.
you?
And they did a Rebels panel the one year after they ended Rebels.
Did you guys see all the panels that they are doing?
No,
I
I
did
did not.
not.
Let me pull it up real quick.
Who are the guests on the Bad Batch panel? Because that will tell me if there's going to be another season or not.
Probably 2 people.
Michelle. What's her
Damn,
name?
who posted
Michelle and D. Bradley Baker. That's all you need.
Oh, check Figure Brian.
I did.
You just did.
That was my first one.
Figure Brian really got all the
Crimson
good
Dawn
ones.
Collectibles has been posting a lot of regular Star Wars stuff lately.
Yeah. He's got to make up for Kylo Collector.
Who posted?
Yoda's news?
Maybe. I think so.
While Jacob's finding that, I have nothing to fill the Do you have any other strong points, I guess, too? Because, I mean, like...
I have just some
I
little
have one.
ones.
What's up?
That was funny. He pulled up a 1.
The
That
drum
was a
at the
point.
beginning was different.
Oh, I gotta say,
Wow.
I thought it was interesting. If you noticed, when the lieutenant tells the TK troopers not to help the clones, even the TK troopers kind of look at each other like, what's going on? Like, what?
Yep.
They look confused.
They're like,
Mhm.
who?
And there's 2 of them that even, like, you can tell one of them is still considering helping. And the other one's just kind of pulls him away.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like shrugging at each other, like, what's going on? I think that just goes to show. I don't know what they're teaching on Coruscant to those officers in the Officers Academy, but it is not the same stuff that we read about in the Thrawn book.
Nope, not the same stuff at all. I guess they don't have to worry about clones existing anymore. And
That's something I wanted to point out.
I got it.
Something I want to... Go
Okay.
ahead.
So they're gonna do a Lucasfilm Studio showcase.
Yeah.
Star Wars Celebration Returns launching must-see showcase that will kick off the weekend's festivities into hyperdrive. Current crop of live-action filmmakers, guests. They're going to talk about things about The Mandalorian and Andor. Then they're going to do designing Star Wars productions, the making of Andor Season 1.
Ooh.
April 8th, they're starting off with an Ahsoka panel.
Oh,
And so that's probably when we're going to get another trailer.
nasty.
And then
bro.
bringing to life concept artist of ILM. They're going to do a High Republic panel where they're going to talk about Phase 2 of the High Republic and a sneak peek of Phase 3. And then they're going to do 40 Years of Return of the Jedi, Star Wars Creator Cosplay Workshop, Star Wars Young Jedi Adventure screening,
where they're going to be showing off that new thing. Hasbro Star Wars and Indiana Jones panel.
Great. I can't wait for them to not show any Black Series reveals.
What if Fives is a
whatsoever.
con exclusive?
A Creature Cantina. Clone Wars 15-year anniversary panel.
I was gonna say,
That's
please do something for the Clone
That's going
Wars.
to end that
Okay.
day. That's going to have Dave Filoni, Matt Wood, D. Bradley Baker, Ashley Eckstein, Matt Lanter, James Arnold Taylor.
Wait, did you just say 15-year?
Yeah, 15-year.
It's the 20-year.
It's the 20-year for Tarkovsky and the thing. It's 15 years for just the 2000.
That's right, because it came out in 2008.
It's just so dumb to me.
Mm-hmm. And then looking back at the beginning of Lucasfilm Animation, how Star Wars: The Clone Wars came to be. And then April 9th, they're coming out with Villains of the Sequel Trilogy, which is going to be a panel. Dark Side of the Force has passed through many panels. Some consider to be can't miss. Join a host of people, the Emperor, Snoke, Phasma, and other people who play
Wow.
villainous roles in the final chapters of the Skywalker
That's
saga.
cool.
Behind the magic, the visual effects of
Okay,
Andor.
skip to the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Dark Horse Comics returns. Look back at
Or
Kenobi, Funko,
Jacob, there's so much. Just go to the
cosplay.
Bad Batch.
Let me go through it, dog. Disney Parks is getting a nice panel, so they're probably gonna be talking about how they're gonna. There's been whispers about expanding Galaxy's Edge. That's probably what it's gonna be. Beyond the Spires, more stuff about Galaxy's Edge. Star Wars Animation Game Night. Lucasfilm Publishing for more books, and then the final day, they're starting off the day with the Bad Batch panel. Let's see who's on it.
All that just
D.
to
Bradley
not answer
Baker,
the
Michelle.
question.
Okay, D. Bradley Baker, Michelle, and Omega are going to be on there.
Okay.
Explain highlights for the second season of the acclaimed series. And they're going to
Final season.
tabletop
final.
stuff. Oh, Star Wars Visions 2 is getting a thing. Micro World of Jawas. What is that? I don't know.
This would be perfect to talk about on our main episode.
That's why I'm just going through it really quick. And then there's going to be designing Obi-Wan and then the closing ceremony.
Oh my gosh, you could have just skipped to the Bad Batch.
No, dog. We have to give them the entire panel for everybody that we are the informers and we have to inform.
Okay, at least we don't have to talk about it tomorrow.
No, we're gonna
Anyways.
re-talk about
No,
it.
we are
We
not.
can dive into depth on the main episode tomorrow.
I'll kill you.
Who even are you?
Luke this
Who
monster.
even is this
We're gonna
guy?
go through it one by one and talk about
In
each individual.
excruciating detail in order. Oops. Anyways,
He does that. It's not even like a joke. He just does that.
I totally had something I was gonna say. We were talking, Jackson. What was I talking about? I was talking about TK
We were
Troopers.
talking about
Yep.
the panels that Star Wars Celebration is doing. Do you need me to read through them again?
No! Oh my god.
Dang, I
We
was
just
talking
talked
about
about
the.
TKs.
I was talking about TKs, and they like kind of.
They're like, oh, that's kind of weird that he's bullying that other guy, but oh well. And then they went back to their business.
Nah, I totally lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
Thank you guys so much. for
Someone
watching
wanted
this
to list
episode.
every single panel.
It's
at Star
important,
Wars
Thomas.
Celebration 2023.
Thomas, it's important. I'm excited.
Everybody dislike this video.
Don't tell
Or
them to
the-
dislike it. We need the likes to get to 1,000. We are so close, everyone.
Our watch hours are staying.
Because of you, we are so close.
our watch, y'all need to start watching more of our videos. Our watch hours are staying pretty stagnant. We need to get those up.
Dude, people were just talking in the Discord today that they rewatch the Comic-Con vlog.
Yeah.
Like once a month.
That's probably where the views.
People still watch our old videos.
That's crazy.
Like the views on them
They need
go
to do
up.
that some more. Hey guys that are
Oh
listening,
my gosh.
do it more, please. We have been sitting at 3,600 watch hours for the year for about 3 months now, and we'll go.
That
up to
doesn't make any sense.
because it has to be within the year. So every month that goes by, we lose about 100. So every time we make it up to 700, we lose 100. We're stagnantly sitting because the watch hours only last a certain amount of time. It's like how I can't think of a comparison, but so. Yeah, the watch hours are only good for a calendar year. After that calendar year is up, they get rid of it. So it's not like that's overall. Overall, we've had almost 5,000 or 6,000 watch hours on the channel.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like we're well over it. It's just we need to get it in a year. So that's why I'm like, come on, y'all, boost those hours. We need to get 400 more hours in the year because we keep losing.
Well, that's possible.
We're losing 100 every month.
We have a
having
whole
a
year,
stroke.
dude.
Anyways,
Mhm.
so
It's like for shorts, we have to get 10 million views on shorts in 90 days to be able to become monetized. and we're at 21.
Wait, we have to do that too now?
No, that's like it's one or the other. It used to.
Oh, wait.
So it's at we're at 21K public views for shorts
Not at
out of
10
10 million. That's like a
Wow.
fraction. So that's like we'd have to be uploading like 7 shorts every day.
That's insane.
I'm good.
All right, I'm good not to do
Anyways, guys, I give this episode a 10 out of 10. Can't wait to see what happens in the Bad Batch next.
I'm not
Perfect.
gonna rate it until the show is all over.
that. I hate how you guys just keep doing that.
It was a good episode. I give it 1 out of 1 mythosaurs.
That Jackson didn't see.
Mhm.
More on that
Oh
tomorrow,
my
guys.
God.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the podcast. Please like, subscribe, watch this video 7 times, and then force everybody in your family to watch it another 20. Thank you guys for joining us. Follow us on all of our social media, that being Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch. Support us on Patreon. Buy some merch. And join the Discord. The Discord is an amazing place with amazing people. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Tika, 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 tika.